traditionally, people have been worried about how to do their websites, and the whole idea was that once you get your website done, you show up on Google list of websites, and people start calling you, right? That's the way of tuning your website so you show up in Google on a list of websites. And that's worked for years. Unfortunately now, as you all know, it's all different. If you go to Google now, it's all about everything. And I don't know if you've got some handouts there that stopped passing around. You can maybe follow around a little bit here. Because if you look at, I think on the top page there, top of the page, front page, you see if you run a search now in Google, you just don't get a list of websites anymore. You get a mess of good stuff. You get a list of businesses on a map, and in there you also get maybe some reviews, maybe even a video. So what the game is now is that it's all about everything. And most of the stuff, to get into Google now, a lot of it you can do yourself. We just want to talk a little bit about if you were going to sit down now and you were going to work on your website to get into Google to start getting customers, what you could do. The first thing is really the basic thing you have to do is think like a search engine. And that means that you have to tell Google what your site is about. Now, the people I've talked about since the first year, the two people I've talked about have professionally designed websites by graphic artists. They were very pretty. But they didn't give Google a clue about what the website was about. It was all pictures. Google doesn't understand pictures. Or was pictures, or was the name of their business. Let's say Sturt Kulik O'Neill. Google doesn't know what a Sturt Kulik O'Neill is unless you tell it. Right? So if you search for Sturt Kulik O'Neill, Jeff's site would be great if you called it Sturt Kulik O'Neill, but nobody searches for Sturt Kulik O'Neill unless they already know Jeff. Okay? So the first thing you want to do if you want to get customers is to tell Google what your site is about. So you have to, and the way you do that is you pick out some key phrases that you think your ideal customer will look in Google for when you should come up. Let's take an example of, I'm going to use Jeff's company today because it's a good one. Let's say you want to look for a San Francisco CPA. That was what we decided that Jeff's ideal customer would look for is San Francisco CPA. So the first thing we did, the first step that you all should do, if you want customers on the internet, is decide what your key phrases are that people should find you. Okay? And then if you look at the second page of the handout, you talk about what do I mean by tuning the website, tuning a web page for Google. This is what you do to tune. It's not a really high-tech thing. It doesn't take, great rocket science and equipment. What you do to tune a website is you place the keyword phrase that you want, San Francisco CPA, in key places on the web page. If you notice on that, for Jeff's company, which now shows up #1 in Google, if you type in San Francisco CPA, you see at the very top of the page, we have a page title, which is called San Francisco CPA. When we have a graphic on the site, like their logo, Google doesn't understand what Sturt Kulik O'Neill picture looks like or what it means, but you tell it with what's called an alt tag for the graphic, San Francisco CPA's Sturt Kulik O'Neill. Same thing when you go down the text. The visible text is really important to Google. You start off, you have headlines say, San Francisco CPAs do something. And then you start off your first paragraphs at the top of the page with your magic keyword phrase also. San Francisco CPAs provide lovely service, do your taxes, clean your house, whatever it is. That's all you start off at the beginning of your web page. And that's all it is to tune your website. Or your web page. Now, you can tune every page on your website for one keyword phrase. So we chose San Francisco CPAs for the home page because it was the most important phrase that they have. Then we go to other pages for maybe IRS audits. We go to another page for retirement planning from CPAs. But each page has its own phrase. If you do that, that's about 60% of what you want to do to get yourself shown on the internet. And by the way, those lovely pages, the sites that my clients had, didn't have any of these words, the magic words. The caterer did not have the word catering on his site. He was an event planner. Okay? And, you know, they had pictures of catered food. You know? So, I mean, so how did Google know? Google doesn't know this, you know? It was, and, you know, whatever his name was, events. Okay. So that's the first thing you have to do. Some of the things I'd like to tell you, if you go out and you get a web designer and they start doing, you get a professionally designed site, make sure that they do this search engine optimization as part of the web design. I don't understand how people can go out and sell web designs and not already have search engine optimization built in, but yet this year so far, 2 out of 2 people who have come to me have had professionally designed websites where they didn't even do basic things like put the title of the page didn't say San Francisco CPA, it said, Sir Kulik O'Neill. And if they don't understand that, you really need to work with them to make sure that they get you on the internet so you're visible. Some of the other things that we can do is that you looked at the first page again, you saw all those listings at the top of Google. Okay, the reason why Google now is trying to be very friendly to users, and they put maps on their site, right? When you do a Google search now for like somebody, you see a map with all those little businesses around there, with little, at one's twos, saying this is where they are in your area. That's very important. You can go out there for free and claim your own Google business, your own Google place, so that you will start showing up in the map, and you'll start showing up with the information you want, like hours, things like that, so that you will, if you phrase things correctly, you put on your description of your business, San Francisco CPAs, you start going up in Google. And that's another thing you can do for free yourself. To claim your Google places. You also find there in that little thing at the top, the results, you'll see that there are results from things like City Search and Yelp. Each of those things add weight to Google, so that if you go onto Yelp, you need to go onto Yelp and claim your business listing. Even if you're working at a home office or something, claim your business listing, fill out the information, and then so Google can use that information also to figure out what it should say about you and where it should put you on the map for when people start looking for your type of business. These things really should cost you no more money than you're going to do anyway than getting on the website. Other things you should do is, when I say go on Google, by the way, Google, like 66% of American searches, so almost all search engines I talk about Google, and the other ones being Yahoo follow the same rules. Go on Bing and get your page there. And then what you should do then also, not because thousands of people are going to start reading your blog or following you on Facebook or reading your tweets, but Facebook, blogs, and Twitter are all good things to start with in your spare time if you have it. They're free things you can do yourself. And if, when you make your blog or when you write something on Facebook, you reference a link on your website, guess what? No human has to read it, but Google is going to read the link to your website. Think that people on Facebook like you, and you will get more credit and show up higher on Google search engines because Facebook is pointing to you. That make sense? Yeah. Okay, it's not that you're going to have thousands of fans, but the only fan you care about is Google. Okay, and the other thing you can do, as time permits, is you just never stop. It's like I said earlier, it's just like any other advertising. Everything is incremental. You don't buy one ad in the newspaper and sit there and wait for things to happen. You have to do campaigns. You have to keep working at it. The same thing's on the internet. It's nothing magic. Nothing has changed really with how people work or anything like that on the internet. It just seems like it's now in electrons instead of ink. So don't forget, you have to keep going. You have to keep trying. Things you might try. You might want to spend some money on Google Ads. You might want to do a video of yourself doing a presentation. Put it on YouTube with a link to your website. Okay, maybe nobody will find it, but Google will. And maybe the Bluebird of Happiness will descend, and somebody who's looking for your services will look on YouTube, search on YouTube, find you, and call you. The same things, press releases are really good. Because you see, everything, it's all about everything now. Google now doesn't return separate things for images, separate things for news, whatever. They blend them all together unless you tell it differently. So when you search for San Francisco CPA, you'll get a collage of news, websites, videos, everything like that. So you want to have a presence in each one that you can. So it's very simple. Most of these things are things you can do yourself, or you certainly can make sure you direct the people you hire to your websites or other publicity to do them right for you.